Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm Indy, and today we're going to be reviewing Miasma Chronicles. Miasma Chronicles is brought to you by the same devs that gave us Mutant Year Zero, one of my favorite turn-based combat games ever assembled. So when I found out about this game, I had no choice but to play it. You start off with Elvis and Diggs, roaming the wasteland that is ravaged by the miasma. What is it? Well, and why is it? Well, that's the big question our hard-nosed heroes want answers to, but at what price? Elvis is determined to break through the miasma and find his mother trapped on the other side. Our two heroes call Sedentary home, along with others that don't risk the wasteland. Not like our two heroes. Here you will go back and forth with the mayor, who just happens to be a head in a jar. Not sure exactly how that works, but okay. You'll also have some shops where you can buy weapons, attachments, consumables, and among a few other things. You can find a few NPCs in towns that will give you side quests, and that will give you a few rewards and some XP. And you get some items such as like plastic. Plastic is the currency in the game. It's one thing you'll be scavenging all throughout the wasteland for. This is kind of where Miasma Chronicles separates itself from Mutant Year Zero, and not exactly in a good way. See, in Mutant Year Zero, when roaming freely, you would find anything from scrap to weapons to gears and stuff like that. This isn't exactly the case here. Now, you'll find weapons and attachments and sometimes some consumables, but you're mainly going to just be finding plastic. And guess what? You can forget about finding gear. Yeah, that's right. In Miasma Chronicles, you only find outfits that fit for a specific character. And to make things worse, I was probably about 3/4 of the way through the game before I started to find these outfits. Now, this is a baffling decision by the devs, if you ask me. And it begs to why even have the outfits if you're going to do this? I know they're for armor base for your stats, but if you're going to wait so long to give them to me, then I don't even want it. I don't think I ever found Elvis. Like, I didn't find his armor outfit ever. So that to me was I'm still confused as to why. Okay, moving along from probably the most annoying part of the game for me. The turn-based combat is on par with Mutant Year Zero, so if you played it, expect sort of the same with a few tweaks. The one thing that I found a tad inconsistent was the cover in this one. It never felt like you was actually safe in any area of cover. Enemies seem to be able to hit you with lucky shots almost at an alarming rate. Add to it the enemies basically multiply numerous times during combat, and you pretty much have a tough time even on the normal difficulty level. I did enjoy the miasma attacks that Elvis is equipped with, and later on with Jade. Now, Elvis can do some solid lasting damage with these, while I liked taking over the minds of enemies and stuff with Jade. Even though you get some really good miasma attacks with Elvis, but I like to use in Jade's mind control stuff. And speaking of Jade is another character that you pick up down the road in the game. You'll come across some other characters as well, but I won't talk about them. Just like I didn't really switch between the characters anyways as much during the game. I mean, I did once towards the end of the game, and that's basically that lineup is what I used to finish. So it kind of felt like the outfit situation, pointless. Now, if it seems as if I'm leaning towards the negative here, it might be a little true. However, Miasma Chronicles is still a pretty good game. The characters are great, and the NPCs around the world really add to the fantastic looking game. I love the dark and grittiness, so it helps. It helps that this game is dark and gritty. I love that. Anyways, the combats, while not perfect or on the same level as Mutant Year Zero, it's still decent enough. The leveling system could use some rework, and the shops, well, they need a complete overhaul. But I'll always enjoy scavenging in the world. I'll always enjoy scavenging in these worlds that the devs create for this type of game. The Miasma breathes something special into this world, and the little Easter eggs that are dropped throughout made me pretty much long for my human-like animal friends in the previous game. I know there's a name for that. What do you call them? But I probably can't pronounce it. What do you call the animals and human-like creatures or whatever they were in that game? The story itself holds up, though. Against it was actually quite good. The story was actually quite good, especially towards the end of the game. There are a few moments you don't see coming, and that sort of energized my interest later on in the game. Even though, in these type of games, the gameplay can become a little bit repetitive, so you kind of have to have a pretty good story to, keep you going. Simply put, if you ask me, the Bearded Ladies can tell a good story. I love the world building these devs can do, and how they create this atmosphere that almost puts you right there in the game with the characters. From the character design, the world design, the storytelling, the Bearded Ladies really are top notch in this area. Unfortunately, Miasma Chronicles has some performance issues that come along with all this goodness that you're going to be experiencing. There are times where the game kind of bogs down and basically comes to a complete stop when entering combat. You also have this issue of when you enter a new area and your main character, for some reason, kind of starts off in sneak mode, and then you have to cycle through that to get them back to normal. It's a little bizarre, and it pretty much happened every single time that I loaded into a new area, so that was a little annoying. Then add to it that I experienced several crashes, so yeah, that wasn't great as well. But I have to say, for a game that I really enjoyed, there were things that really kind of left a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth. I put close to 40 hours into this game, and when I beat it, all I could say was, well, that was pretty interesting. Miasma Chronicles is mixed with the goods and the bads, and luckily enough, the story carries it far enough into a decent game. Yes, comparing it to Mutant Year Zero might feel a touch unfair because that game is, near and dear to my heart. However, Miasma Chronicles definitely had its chance to win me over. While it did in spurts, it honestly didn't wow me like I thought it would. The art style, the characters, the atmosphere, and the story are all fantastic, and that was enough for me to make me happy with my purchase. I did enjoy this game quite a bit. I loved the combat. I loved turn-based combat. There just didn't seem like it had that wow factor, that I loved so much with the other game. There was so many things that I felt like could have been, done differently. Maybe just the same formula seemed to be followed, but maybe not mix up the combat as much, or it needed to be tweaked and stuff, and maybe have the same armor system That was pretty, lame. But as the miasma and the energy cells and all that stuff and everything that you have to use, and that was pretty cool. I enjoyed that, and it made the combat better for me. I enjoyed that. The variety of the enemies is, well, there are some wild enemies in this game, that is for sure. But on top of that, everything else was, I enjoyed the game. Even with the issues that it had, I enjoyed the game quite a bit. I found it interesting, to say the least. But, perhaps my expectations were just a little too high because of its predecessor. Thank you so much for watching this review. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. And yeah, Miasma Chronicles, it's done and in the books. I'm glad that I played the game. I'm glad that I purchased the game and played it. It wasn't great. It's kind of an average turn-based combat game. But I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the story for sure. Just little things could have been done better, if you ask me. But I reviewed it on the PS5, and you can pick it up now. Of course, it's out now, and it's actually been out for a few weeks now. But like I said, it took me about 40 hours to complete it. And if you're hitting every single side quest and all that stuff, it's probably going to take you longer than 40 hours to complete this one. But again, not great, but not bad, just kind of average. So, I did enjoy it, and I'm happy that I played it. So, maybe you might want to pick it up, who knows, maybe if they patch some of the bugs and stuff. But, again, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one.